That's one thing that we've taken is we don't want to be stagnant.
Yeah.
We don't want to be stagnant. We want to grow. We want to get better. And that's sales. The moment you get stagnant, you're not being a salesman. You're just going with the flow. You got to keep trying to learn and grow these directions to get better.
All right, we got Eli here, one of the first ever fiber golden door winners. This is the first year we did fiber for golden doors this year. So, hey, congratulations, Eli.
Thank you, Albert.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
This your first time here at Door to Door Con?
It's actually my third year in a row.
Third year in a row. So tell me about how, from your first year to now, how's the progression been as far as Door to Door Con goes?
Man, Door to Door Con, I look around the vendor room here, and it's just exploded.
Yeah.
Last year was bigger than the year before, and this year's bigger than the last year, and so it's cool to see all the different vendors that are here and just get to talk to people and network, and especially now that fiber's made a little bit more of an impact into Door to Door Con.
Yeah.
I'm able to network a little bit better with some other fiber guys, and learn some more tips on how to take my sales from maybe to get a double golden door next year.
Yeah.
And to take my sales to the next level.
That's awesome. This event's great every year. It gets a little bigger, a little better. It just keeps building every year. So we love it, and it's due to guys like you that are going out, day after day throughout the year and grinding.
Yeah.
So let's start with a little bit of history. How long you been knocking doors for?
It's a great question. So I have been working in door-to-door industry about 2.5 years now.
Okay.
Before that, I was just working in a grocery store, stocking shelves, running the night crew.
There you go.
Was getting married and needed a change. Took a leap of faith and said, let's go try sales and do door knocking.
So tell me a little about how that started. How'd you find, where are you currently at? How'd you find that from going from working in the grocery store to working door to door? Tell me about that transition a little bit.
Yeah, so I work for a company called Tech Internet. It's a local telecom in Kansas there. So I'm based out of Kansas, from Kansas, born and raised. And Tech started off as a high school senior project 25 years ago in a small town of about 1,000 people. And so I'm thankful to be able to be a full-time rep. Don't have to, spend a lot of nights away from the wife.
Yeah.
But I started off with just was looking for something different, was tired of the grocery store life, kind of got passed over for some promotions, and had some friends that worked at the company that I went to church with, and so I knew about it, applied and ended up getting the job. And when I started, it was just me, the sales manager, and a part-time contractor that was local, and now we're full-time reps, and I've been able to help grow the team over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, man. I love hearing progression, success stories. So before we really get into this year where you hit the golden door, let's talk about your first year selling. Tell me a little about what that was like. What were some of the challenges you faced coming from, not knowing anything door to door to be, into that first year? Tell me that transition a little bit, how that went.
Yeah, so I started in June of 22 is when I started door knocking. And we, like I was saying, we from where we're on to now, we've grown our team significantly. And so when I was first starting out, we had no idea what we were doing, in a sense. We were learning as we went, and so it's been to now we've got tools in place that make it a lot easier. When I started, we were going Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., home every night, not staying late, not working in the evenings in prime time. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
We came to Door to Door Con the first year, learned so many tips about the trade, learned that evenings are great.
Yep.
You got to catch people in prime time. So we started slowly doing 1 or 2 nights a week, started doing some more, maybe one Saturday a month or every so often. Came back last year for Door to Door Con, learned even more. This last, came back into it this year, and now we're going out. We're working 10-hour shifts. We're trying to be, in the summertime, I'm trying to be on the doors at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I'm knocking till 9.
Yeah.
I may stop to use the bathroom a couple times, but I'm not even wanting to take a lunch break because I'm just wanting to pound those doors.
Yeah.
Kansas, it gets cold.
For sure.
And then it gets dark so early now in the winter.
Yeah.
So now I'm out there 10:30, knocking till 6, 6:30, 7. I take a lantern out with me to knock now. That's something new we've learned. That's one thing that we've taken is we don't want to be stagnant.
Yeah.
We are wanting I talk with my hands a lot.
No, you're good.
We don't want to be stagnant. We want to grow. We want to get better. And that's sales.
Yeah.
The moment you get stagnant, you're not being a salesman. You're just going with the flow. You got to keep trying to learn and grow these directions to get better.
I think there's so many times in our lives where we can use excuses, right? And sometimes they're valid excuses saying, not today. It's cold. So I live in Minnesota, so I get it. It gets cold, right?
Yeah.
Or in the Midwest, you can be 30 degrees. You can also be negative 10 degrees, right? And so it gets cold, and you could use that as an excuse saying, hey, it's cold today. I'm not gonna go out. Oh, it's raining. It's it's hot, or it's hot. It's humid. Maybe let's take it easy today and go out tomorrow. But time and time again, when you talk to winners, Golden Door winners, you talk to athletes, you talk to Olympians, you talk to people that really have mastered that success. Those hard things, those things that are challenging, the bad weather, all those what some people might use as excuses, is what fuels everybody else.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, we're different. We're going to go out in the rain. We're going to go out in the snow. We're going to go out when it's hot, and we're going to be successful because of our mindset, because of our attitude that we have towards it. So it's, I've always been under the impression, you can control what you can control. You can't control the weather, but you can still control what time you knock. Mm-hmm. You can't control what time it gets dark, but you control how many hours you work, right? So it's controlling those things that you can control and not letting the things you can't control becoming excuses.
Yeah, and that's one thing you talked about, the rain. We heard from someone last year at Door to Door Con that when it rains, people don't want to go out and knock. That guy said he's going to make it his best days. I have taken that this year, and I go out there and I'm like, oh, it's a rain day? It's going to be my best day.
Beautiful.
I go out there, I'm like, it's 5 o'clock and I've got 11 sales, or it's 8 o'clock and I got 11 sales today because it was a rain day. And I had that mentality of, I'm going to be out in the rain when no one else wants to. I'm going to go knock these doors and get these sales, and I'm going to make today the best day out of it.
And I think, that's something you picked up here at Door to Door Con by hearing somebody else talk about it. And that's the importance, too, in our industry of really networking, really getting out there and talking to like-minded individuals, because we do learn these tips and tricks that otherwise we wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
You didn't come from a door-to-door background, right? You just kind of were thrown into it and like, all right, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Right? Let's make it work. But coming and learning and listening, that's why it's so important to always be learning, always be adapting. If you don't adapt, you die.
Exactly.
Right? So it's finding what works, use it, and finding what doesn't work and not using it, right?
Yeah. And like you said, I didn't really have a background with door to door. Just funny story for you that I like to tell people. I got my start in door to door back in Boy Scouts, selling popcorn door to door in my neighborhood.
There you go.
You know, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
Never would have thought I'd make a career out of it, but here we are. And
so went from a grocery store, started knocking doors, kind of figuring out, not really knowing what you're doing. Now this year you're a Golden Door winner, meaning you sold so many accounts that you got an award. Tell us a little bit about that journey from when you started to where you're at now.
Yeah. So honestly, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't know that fiber was going to be offered on Golden Door until about October.
There you go.
So the whole first half of the year, had no idea that it was even
You were
a
just
thing.
grinding.
I was just grinding, just going out there to provide for my family.
Yeah.
I'm married, and in fact, I even had a month where I was off because I had to have surgery.
Oh, wow.
So I missed a whole month of knocking. But I was still, able to get some sales from, follow-ups, calls, and stuff like that. So that was nice, but not knocking.
Yeah.
So with the Golden Door, I had no idea that it was even available this year till about September, October timeframe. Found that out, and then was really just grinding till I let me hit these numbers at the door. Like, let's get these numbers at the door, events, people calling me. Let's get these sales.
Yeah, you were hustling. You were making sure you hit that. At what month did you hit your golden door?
I think I hit it roughly around middle of November.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. I mean, here's the thing. It's it sometimes takes that full time, right? Especially, I mean, and that's what's so great about the guys that hit it is, sometimes guys have a killer first half of the year. Maybe they hit it early, but I love the guys that are grinding it out all year to hit it. They're working hard. And then after they hit it, they're still going, right? They're not slowing down. They're not stopping. They're still going, right? So it's great to see. Let's talk about a little bit. What are some of your kind of tips and tricks, best practices that you use every day?
Man, like I said, for me earlier, I like to be out on the doors. If it's in the summertime, I'm not going to go out in the morning because it's going to get hot in Kansas there.
Yeah.
It's going to get up to triple digits for most of the summer.
Yeah.
I don't want to be out there for 12, 13, 14 hours a day. But usually with working for the local company, I'm able to drive that day, and it's about an hour drive. So I'm able to leave my home. I try every day, leave my house by 11:30 to that town. If it's more than an hour drive, a little bit, leave my house at 11:30, get there at 12:30, take care of any paperwork I need in that first 30 minutes, use the bathroom one last time. 1 o'clock, between 1 and 1:30, I am on the doors. Unless I need to take care of some paperwork. I'm trying not to get in my car too much unless I need to cool off so I don't get heat exhaustion. But then you're going till 9 o'clock. Maybe go take a bathroom break every once in a while, cool off, drink some water, but you're just knocking doors. One thing we've learned this year as well is 3 passes is super helpful. Knock it, no one answers, knock it again, no one answers. That third time, you may get the guy.
Yeah.
I had that happen a couple weeks ago. I got a guy, knocked it a couple times a couple days before, 6:30 at night, it's pitch black, and I'm like, I'm gonna try this one more time. Guy answers. That was a whole funny story there. I don't know if we can talk about funny stories on the podcast.
Go for it, yeah.
This one, the guy was like, man, I don't want to talk tonight. I'm like, okay, better time I can call you. Just trying to respect his thing there. And he's like, tell you what, you do me a favor, I'll do you a favor. I was like, okay, what's that? He goes, man, I hurt my back the other day. If you can put these patches on my back, I'll get you some gloves. That would be really helpful. So I'm like, if you give me some gloves, I'll put them on. So I put on some medical gloves. He takes his shirt off. I put these Tiger Balm patches on his back. He puts his shirt on. He's drinking a beer. He takes a pain pill, and I sold him.
Nice. There you go.
But if I wouldn't have gone back that third time, would have never had that story, would have never got that sale.
Yeah. I mean, that happens so many times when you see guys, you see guys that are knocking, they get no, and they quit. Little they know, they would have knocked the next door. It was a yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You never know. That's why I love the adage, one more door. It's always one more door. If you think you're done, knock another door. There's so many instances where I've either talked to reps or even myself out in the field where I'm knocking on a door and I'm like, all right, it's time to pack it up. And then one more door, use that, knock it next one, and I sell it. Right? If I would have just packed up shop right then and left, never would have got it. Right?
Yeah.
And it's important to keep all those touches on those doors because, you don't know when somebody's home, right? So if they're not answering, you're going back until eventually you either get a sale or get off my porch.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So no, that's a great mindset, great mentality to have. What are some of the things that you did throughout the year, kind of on the personal development side, to help keep your mindset right, to keep you going, throughohout the year?
Man, I'm a big man of faith. My relationship with God and Christ is very important to me.
Phenomenal.
And so, I'm usually starting my days off by reading. When I get out to knock, I'm praying before I knock. I want to be able to have my faith is what helps me propel.
For sure.
There's times out there where it's just a grind.
Yeah.
And people are just mean and they don't want to talk but you can go back to my faith. I can talk to God anytime. Yeah. And then it's also, for me, there's times where with all my coworkers, I'm probably the most energetic guy out there. So, if they're down, I'm trying to hype them up. But I like to call it my manager. I just say I need a pep talk. Yeah. And he'll call me and he'll be like, bro, you're you're killing it. Just keep going, you know, if it's in a slump. And so those are the kind of things that like can help me like, man, it's just a grind today. And it'll remind me that, you know, too. I'll be like, bro, it's a grind. It's sales.
Yeah.
Just keep knocking, keep going. And that's all I need. And then I'm like, okay, next door, let's get it.
And a lot of times it's a middle game, right? I mean, it's not easy. Door-to-door sales is not easy. It's not impossible, but it's not easy, right? So you have to keep grinding, you have to keep knocking, you have to keep going. You're going to get rejected all day. You got to shrug it off and go find the yeses. And because they're out there. There's people, I mean, especially in the fiber industry. We can talk about fiber for a little bit. I mean, it used to be, I started in the fiber industry over 10 years ago. We were selling people, 10 meg, 25 meg plans, and they were loving it, right? It was great. It's evolved a lot since then. Internet in the home used to be a luxury. Now it's a necessity, right? With schooling, with work, with all the remote stuff that we do nowadays, it really is a necessity in the home.
Yeah.
It's something that everybody wants, everybody needs. And if you can provide them a better option what they have, it's a great product to take on the doors.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little about the fiber industry in whole. I mean, what's your opinion of the industry, where it's at and where it's going?
Man, I think fiber sells itself. It's one of those things. People, like you said, it's not just a luxury anymore. It's a need.
Yeah.
I like to joke, when I talk to people sometimes or go to towns and kind of give some info for it because our company likes to kind of give some informational meetings and they have us help out with that. And when I was in college, I was doing online school, and that was in 2019 when I started that. Then 2020 we had COVID hit, and so I always like to joke I was doing it before it was cool.
Yeah.
But I had old coax line, and I didn't have too many issues with it from my computer, but my friends would come over, and my internet would always have issues with watching movies on Netflix or Hulu. Like, we'd have movie night, me and the guys, and so they would always be like, man, you got to get different internet. And then jump forward to fiber now. Fiber, it's the best technology out there for internet. There's a reason that cities are using it, school districts are using it, hospitals, because it's the most reliable.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever looked at a map of fiber, but like you look at the ocean, that thing is coated on the ground there with fiber lines. It's just so cool to see the future that it's going. And that's what's nice with fiber as well, is it's not like this old coaxial line or DSL line where that stuff is deteriorating as time has gone on. Fiber, it's the future. We don't have to go back in eventually and redo the whole infrastructure.
Right.
We just have to do the back end with lasers kind of thing, and that's what fiber is. It's a thin strand piece of glass that light travels through.
Yep.
And so that's what's nice is the future is there. You were talking about how you were able to get 25, 50 megs in a home and people were pumped about that. There's companies out there offering 8 gig, 10 gig to the home, gig, 2.5 gig, things like that. And it's like, probably don't need it. Like,
yet, anyway.
Don't exactly yet. There's talk, that in the future there could be sensors that are going to be like 10 gig sensors for virtual reality.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, like I said, that's the great thing about the fiber industry, right? It's a future-proof technology. Fiber's been around for decades.
Yeah.
They've been laying fiber to connect continents since the 70s, right? So fiber's been around for forever. And like you said, it's not a technology that deteriorates. It's not a technology, once it's there, it's there. And the upgrades to the system don't come from replacing the lines. It comes from replacing the head and equipment, right? The equipment that's powering the lines. So the technologies and capabilities and the upgrade capabilities, really are endless, and we probably haven't even scratched the surface of what they can do yet.
Yeah.
Right? So it's an exciting industry to be in, and there's really, I like to call it right now, it's kind of the gold rush. The gold rush of fiber. Because you have so many companies out there that are building fiber to the home. It used to be fiber connections were, usually commercial fiber connections, very expensive. But now in the last, 8 years, that's changed a lot, where it's a lot of residential fiber connections. And a lot of companies have goals to build out, fiber connections in all their communities. And it won't be too long before every home has a fiber internet connection.
Yeah. And that's the future is, and that's one of the things that I find frustrating at times on the door is people are like, I'm good, I don't want it.
Yeah.
You know, or I had one person who I sold a long time ago, then called me back and said they were thinking about moving. And that's one thing we found is having fiber installed in the home helps raise property values.
For sure.
You know, so you can use that as a selling feature, you know, when you're selling fiber. And I did that with them. And then they're like, well, we don't know if the future owners actually want it in the house, so we're going to cancel our install. And it's like,
they want it. Trust me,
they're going to want it. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those, it's the younger generation, you know, really understands the needs for fiber. Those that have been stuck on cable and internet for so long are just so stuck in the ways in a way that they don't want to consider anything new. And that's where door-to-door is really helpful because we can show them the new stuff.
Yeah, it's a great way to get in front of the customer and really talk to them about the benefits, why fiber's important, why it matters to them. You know, I'm sure over the last 2.5 years that you've been knocking doors for fiber, you've encountered hundreds of objections.
Yeah.
What would you say kind of some of the top objections are that you encounter?
For one of the biggest ones is with where we're at in Kansas, you have a lot of people that don't do streaming yet, and they're still on an old cable or satellite provider.
For sure.
And they don't want to give up their cable.
Gotcha.
My dad was just that way. We finally built out his area and we got him signed up, and that was his biggest thing was cable. But I was finally able to get him.
Yeah. So what do you do? Let's just do a little scenario. Let's say you knock on my door. Hey, I got satellite. We're good. I don't really need fiber. How would you approach that? Yeah. So normally the way I would come into it first is ask them who their internet provider is. For sure.
I'm going to try to stay away from TV as much as I can.
Okay.
Because our company, we don't provide any TV at all or streaming, things like that. So I'm going to try to stay away from that as much as I can. Obviously, it's going to be an objection point, so I'm going to have to get over it. But my first thing is I'm going to ask them, like, okay, who's your internet provider? What are you paying? What speeds do you have? Try to get that info that I need. And then if they're like, if they give me like some outlandish number, like I'm paying $200 or $300, then I'm going to say, okay, is that for internet and phone? Because a lot of people still in Kansas have home phones.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy, but you would be surprised at how many people that have landlines.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to figure out where that bill breakdown is. Is it internet, phone, and TV? Is it just internet and phone, or is it internet and TV only? And then at that point, I'm usually asking them, like, well, have you ever looked into streaming? And a lot of times their biggest objection to that is, well, you can't get the local channels. You can't get live TV.
Right.
They just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
That's when it comes as our job, especially in the fiber industry, to kind of educate in that sense.
Right.
And then I like to go into, and I try to show them, like, hey man, I use streaming myself. I want to make sure they can feel, for me, I want to build a connection with them a little bit. And so I'm going to say, look, I use Hulu Live myself, but there's all this, but I recommend it's either YouTube TV or Hulu Live. So just kind of give them some options, explain to them what they have on there. And I like to explain, hey, you're going to be able to get your local channels. You're going to be able to get your big news networks. You're going to get your sports channels. You're going to get all these different channels on here. And then I'm going to show them the price for the TV, and show them, like, it's a fraction.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with fiber, it's cheaper too.
Right.
And it's going to be faster. And if it's not cheaper, it's because it's faster and you're getting more than what you're getting now. Exactly.
Right.
And that's when you have to build value on the fiber itself and what it can do in the future of it. But then you show them, a lot of times they may be paying more for the internet, but then I can save them money by switching them to streaming.
Right.
That actually then sometimes, a lot of times, it'll cut their bill by $100, $150, I don't see
giving them a better product.
And giving them a better product. And then for us, we kind of have a little bit of a better in because we're a local provider. We're local to a lot of these towns within an hour that we're selling in, so people love supporting local businesses.
Right.
And so that's another key that comes in with, like, for us. But with your whole thing about streaming, that's how I would get around it, is with satellite or cables. I would show them options and then educate them on those options, because a lot of times they're like, well, we've tried streaming before. They were just doing like Netflix or Hulu regular without the live TV. And so that they have no idea that there is live TV out there for streaming.
Right. No, that's phenomenal. I think the fiber industry is such a great industry to be a part of. I mean, like I said, it's booming right now. It's going to continue to boom. What would you tell, let's say you have a rep starting out of your company, brand new, never knocked doors before. What advice are you giving them?
Man, I'm going to tell them, oh, that's a good question.
Go back to you 2.5 years ago. What are you going to tell yourself?
I would tell myself, just get out there and grind it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a grind. You're going to have to figure it out kind of as you go. And then I would have told myself, get ready to work evenings. Get ready to be uncomfortable knocking after dark. Get ready to be comfortable knocking in the summer. And just telling myself, you got to be ready for this.
Yeah.
And then work on it. Don't just take a no for a no. That's one thing we used to do is someone would say, nope, we're good, and we would walk away.
Yeah. All right, you said no, I'm packing up shop, let me leave. Now, I mean, a lot of times, too, those are smoke screens, right?
Exactly.
They're not really telling you no. They're just saying, hey, I got something else on my mind right now. I don't have time to think about that. You got to kind of dig a little deeper and get real. What's the real problem, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I just don't have time. All right, well, let's find a time. When do you have time?
Exactly.
Or, hey, I'm going to be really quick with you. This isn't going to take a lot of time. This is going to give you a lot of value. Let's just give me 30 seconds and I can explain it to you, right?
A lot of times I'll tell people, because they're like, hey, I don't have time. I'm like, man, do you have 5 minutes? Just give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And usually I can close those.
I noticed that with a lot of, especially newer reps. They get that first objection, like, okay, I'm going home. There's no kind of pushback. There's no rebuttal. You gotta learn to sell, right?
Yeah.
You gotta learn to overcome those objections. You gotta perfect your craft. Some of the best advice I ever got when I first started knocking doors was, I don't care if you've knocked doors for a week, 3 weeks, 10 years. On your way out to area, in the morning in the mirror, practice your pitch.
Yep.
Practice your pitch. Practice your pitch. Always rehearse it. Always get better, right? You go from a door, you get slammed in your face. As you're walking to the next door, review what you did at that door, right? What went right? What went wrong? Fix it at the next one, right?
Yeah.
Always constantly learning. And that's where I've seen a lot of guys have great success, is they're forever learners, right? They don't claim to know everything. They don't claim to be the best. They just say, hey, I'm going to work the hardest that I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to grind it out, but I'm going to continue to learn, continue to improve.
Yeah. I would say one more thing I want to add in with that. You were asking about some advice. One thing I've learned really well is setting appointments.
Yeah.
Set appointments to go back and talk to them. If now's not a good time, I'm going to say, okay, when is a good time?
Yeah.
Are you going to be home this evening? Great. You get off at this time. I'll be back 30 minutes later. Or if not, let me put you on my calendar for 15 minutes after that. Yeah. Set those appointments and figure out when you can come back. Or you're not the decision maker. Okay, when are they going to be home? Find that out. Because for me, I've noticed if I can set an appointment, most likely I've already built that connection. I'm going to close them if they open that door. Right. There was one day, set 12 appointments, 4 doors did not answer, 8 did, all 8 signed up. Heck yeah. So just, you got to set those appointments, and that's going to be key. That's one thing we've learned from, door-to-door con and just talking with other people and figuring different things out. That's phenomenal. Yeah, this is a great place to network, great place to really learn new ideas and really dive in and reflect too on what you're doing and how you can be better. Yeah. Especially with all the workshops, the keynote speakers. It's a great place to be, a great place to grow. Eli, we appreciate you stopping by. Yeah. Congratulations again on the door-to-door. Awesome, thank Golden you. Door. I mean, it's a great accomplishment. I hope to see you back next year with a double. Hopefully. Golden Door. My wife and I are having a baby this summer, so I missed a couple weeks there, but then I got to get out and provide for her. There you go. You gotta. Hey, it's not an excuse; it's a motivation. Exactly. Right. Yep. Those things aren't excuses; they're motivation to get out and do better and keep grinding. Exactly. So no, we appreciate you being here and receiving the award, and we can't wait to see you next year. Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.